Welcome in and a happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. It is the 27th of November, a little over an hour out from kickoff at the bank. It's prime time, Ravens and Bengals, week 13. So good to be with you guys. This episode is brought to you by my friends at Preston Automotive Group. I hope you're, maybe moving on to seconds or thirds, or perhaps you're already diving in to the old fashions, or maybe you're on a second or third bottle of wine. I don't know what the hell you guys are up to, or maybe you're just traveling, or maybe on a more serious note, you're struggling out there because the holiday season obviously is difficult for some of you. So, hey, if that's the case, regardless of what it is, so good that you guys can be with me a little bit before kickoff. It is an 8:20 start time at the bank, and for the Ravens, they're trying to rip off 6 straight wins to improve to 7-5. We'll see if they have a chance to do that coming up tonight. Joe Burrow this week spoke about, of course, these matchups between he and Lamar Jackson, which have become classics, but for the most part, one-sided in favor of Lamar and the Ravens. 6-1 is Baltimore with Lamar Jackson in their head-to-heads with Cincinnati.
Lamar have had against each other. It's just so rare to see intra-division passers like this. You go back, Manning really never had that inter-division guy. Same with Brady. Do you acknowledge that might be a big part of your story someday when it's all said and done? These chapters with Lamar and these numbers that continue to pop up when you guys square off.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously everybody sees how great of a player he is and how hard he works and how he improves every single year. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for him and love competing against him.
All right, so Joe makes his long-awaited return, of course, after, over 2 months ago, opting for a surgical procedure to repair a grade 3 turf toe. We'll see. We'll be watching that mobility or lack thereof early and often going into tonight. Yes, the Packers and Lions got things started earlier this afternoon. Green Bay took care of Detroit on their home turf. And, of course, that Ravens-Packers game, a month from today, I think, 2 days after Christmas, the Ravens go to the frozen tundra that promises to be Lambeau Field. That'll be an important one. And then right now in Dallas, there's an overhead shot on the CBS camera, so I actually can't see the score, but I believe the Chiefs just went up 21-20 over the Cowboys at the start of the fourth quarter. So that'll be one to watch. And then, of course, the third and final, the primetime game, the late one. We're going to be up late. Yes, we will be, is Ravens-Bengals. And here is your forecast for tonight. By kickoff in a little over an hour from right now, it'll feel like 30, courtesy of my former employer, WBAL-TV here. 36 degrees will be the actual temperature. Looks like the wind will just be a light 10 to 15 miles an hour with a gust up to 23. And then by the start of the fourth quarter, which is typically around 11 o'clock or so, it'll dip down to feeling like 25. That 10 to 15 mile an hour winds will remain the same, and it'll actually be a temperature of 33 degrees Fahrenheit. So in terms of the weather, nothing crazy out there. Speaking of crazy, we're going to go to my living room in just a second here. I see the Padre down in the waiting room is our first guest caller of the evening. But first, we got to set the table and just get you up to speed with some of the game day activations that have been made, and in this case, roster moves. So Taven Bryan, defensive tackle, a veteran, is a short-term injured reserve candidate, like we learned earlier this week from John Harbaugh. He will indeed be placed on injured reserve, as will Justice Hill. This is the second neck injury that's popped up for a Raven this year. Of course, the other, an ominous one, in Nnamdi Madubuike, which we really do not have clarity on still at this point. Then the game day activation, the one that's been much anticipated, long awaited, is Carl Lawson, who's going to get a chance to play his former team. Carl is 30 now. He's a 6'2", 260-pound veteran outside linebacker who began his career with the Bengals in 2017. He was a fourth rounder out of Auburn. That's where he spent his first 4 years. He then went to the New York Jets, spent last year in Dallas where he recorded 5 sacks, and the Ravens brought him in to their practice squad over a month ago. So he will potentially be in line to make his Ravens debut coming up tonight. As for the official inactive list, yes, Rashad Bateman is back after missing 2 games with a high ankle sprain. Cooper Rush, as always, will be your third emergency quarterback. Tyler Huntley will be Lamar Jackson's primary backup. A surprise healthy scratch, and what always means something from a special teams perspective, is Tylan Wallace. He's inactive for the first time this season. Somewhat of a surprise there. Devontae Walker is up. Ben Cleveland down for the second consecutive week. He's a healthy scratch. Carson Vincent is as well. And because Carl Lawson has been activated, the corresponding move, David Ajabo, scratch. Healthy scratch, that is. So that's what's going on today, going into tonight from a roster standpoint. I had a couple other bookmarks that I wanted to discuss as well. Again, no Tylan Wallace, a little bit of a surprise. He had an 80-plus yard touchdown in one of those two games in what became a Ravens regular season series sweep against Cincinnati last year. So anyway, that's what we have to look forward to. Aeneas Peebles is up as well. He has not been active since week 5. He's your day 3 rookie defensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. As far as Cincinnati is concerned, no real surprises here. T. Higgins is the headliner. Trey Hendrickson continues to be down for them. Taj Brooks, Jermaine Burton, Cam Grandy, and Cam Sample is what they're dealing with right now in terms of unavailability. Now, Kyle Hamilton, after popping up with an ankle this week, remember what Jeff Zrebeck had to say from his media angle that he had at one winning drive during this week?
What I saw from Kyle Hamilton today, his ankle was heavily taped, but that dude to be out there on the practice field and
time work,
it's just he ain't gonna miss this game. I'm not sure he's gonna be anywhere close to 100%, but he's not gonna miss this game. So you could tell he was some guys you can't, like Travis Jones walked by us. Now we didn't see a whole lot of practice, but you wouldn't have been able to tell with Travis Jones that he was dealing with anything. Kyle Hamilton, you could tell. You could tell with the way his ankle was taped, and you could tell with how he was running around. Now, we never saw him break out in a full sprint. And, a lot of times you could see towards the end of the practice, they lead us to the podium at the end of practice to get in line for interviews. And Kyle Hamilton was out there at the end of practice. So, yeah, he may have not have done everything, but he was still out there at the end of practice. It wasn't a guy who's just out there for 45 minutes and went inside and got treatment. So that bodes well. I think I just don't see him missing this game. But if he had to, I think you'd probably go with, I think you'd just play Cheeto on the outside with Wiggins, and you'd play Marlin and nickel and just have Gilman Starks back there. And maybe you rotate in TJ Tampa or Keon Martin. And I think that's what they have some options there, but obviously nobody's going to replace Kyle Hamilton.
Well, guys, at least initially to start, they're not going to have to worry tonight about replacing Kyle Hamilton. But given the fact that he hobbled out of that game against the Jets just 5 days ago, given what Jeff has shared related to how heavily that ankle was taped during practice, and knowing that it's a very short week, and knowing that this defense needs and really thrives and lives and dies by Kyle Hamilton's usage and overall ability, as Dallas gets super close to a touchdown. It's 3rd and goal for the Cowboys. They're on the move. It's 21-20 Chiefs right now with a good chunk of the fourth quarter left. So they're on the move. But that'll be something to watch, obviously, as it relates to slowing down this Cincinnati offense that will have Joe Burrow out there for the first time since week 2. No T. Higgins, of course, and no Trey Hendrickson on the defensive side of the ball. Dre Dog gets us started with a super chat before we get to the guest lines. And he says, Bobby, remember what I said about Joe Burrow at halftime with the elevation of Carl Lawson? They're going to be getting at Joe all day. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, Dre Dog. Appreciate you for being here. Let's open up the guest lines and go to Delmar, New York, where I am not, unfortunately, right now. My entire family, or at least a good chunk of my family, I know Tori, my sister, is in the Cincinnati area with her future in-laws, getting married in June. Looking forward to that. But Albany, New York, a little bit of a different climate than where I am right now. I will not require a timer, at least for our first guest. I think you'd have my head if I threw him on a timer. But let's bring in Francis John Trosset, my father. Let's see what the tour that he has in store for us from the place that we grew up, the living room that I spent watching Yankee games with you. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving, Dad.
Same to you, Robert. I'm here with your two brothers, Tommy Boy and Johnny Wags.
What's going on in that living room?
We're actually in the dining room, but we're just they're getting ready to pour some old fashioned. So not that I need that after eating a lot and a couple glasses of wine, but they're They're forcing an old-fashioned down. Here he is.
What's up?
And Dallas
What's going
scores.
on?
We're getting a little play-by-play, Tommy, as Tommy makes his cameo. Cowboys are in the end zone, so it's 26-21 pending a PAT with over 11 minutes to go. We're following that closely as it relates to Kansas City's AFC playoff seeding and whatnot. How you doing, Tommy?
We're good. We just finished cleaning, about to sit down and watch the Ravens on a Thursday night.
New York City's finest. The last time these two gentlemen were on the show, I think they had 3 or 4 screwdrivers in them before 1 o'clock.
Yep, and we've already had a few today.
Yeah. Be more around town. Wish I was there right now, as a matter of fact.
Yep,
Where's the
Don't
youngest man?
Don't forget
Here's the other one. Here's young man.
the only family member that actually lives in Baltimore. Let's go, Flock. We're looking forward to an 8:20 tip-off. Let's get it.
Francis, did you hear that accent there at the end? The Baltimore, instead of the T, you had the D. And look at middle part with a little glass of red wine.
Gotta turn the T to a D. Let's get it.
Look at him. Dallas is going for 2 right now. Stand by, gentlemen, with a little bit of play-by-play. And the Cowboys, do they convert? Yes, they do. That's probably going to be reviewed. If that stands, they'll go up by a full touchdown. If not, it'll be a 6-point deficit for Kansas City with over 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Everybody's popping around. We'll have to continue to get everybody some FaceTime here. Wes Hall chimes in with a super chat. What's going on, Wes? He says, I live away from the family, so my friends and I did our Thanksgiving yesterday. But today I'm thankful to see David Ajabo out, Lawson and Bateman in, and our legend, Keon Martin, healthy. And go Cowboys, because obviously everybody that's a Ravens fan wants Dallas to beat up on Kansas City because Francis, as you know, I mean, they have a razor-thin margin for error when you take a look at the AFC and some of the struggles they had in the first half of the season. So anyway, Wes, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, my man. And yes, Carl Lawson, Francis, is the big deal here. It's what the live stream is built on today. He is a veteran outside linebacker that's been on the Ravens practice squad for over a month. He's activated for the first time. He played last year in Dallas, 5 sacks. And David Ajabo is down. Carl Lawson's up.
Lawson's a quality player. You're going to need him. But here's the bottom line. If you don't have a healthy, productive Kyle Hamilton, unfortunately, Ravens are not going to win tonight, or they're going to win 48-47. There's no stopping Joe Burrow without Kyle Hamilton in there.
I think so. And I think Jeff Zrebeck from earlier this week on the Collective was kind of, without saying that, saying like, look, he was hobbling around. He was gutting through. He's a gladiator. I know if I didn't call him a gladiator, Mr. Hamilton, Derek would be breathing down my neck. But quite frankly, this is a player that this defense goes as Kyle goes. And if he can't, if he's not anywhere near 100% tonight, which I think we're going to know very, very quickly, very soon into this game, then the Ravens could very well, to your point, end up becoming a shootout. And for those of you that don't remember, both of them, including the overtime thriller last year, yes, they both went in favor of the Ravens, but both were shootouts, both were barn burners. We could be in store for another one tonight at the bank, place that you know well.
Yeah, know very well, but not this year. My oldest moves to St. Pete. My youngest shacks up with 3 other guys. No place for Frankie to stay and go to the game. So I haven't been to a game this year, folks. I've been a little let down, but hope for a playoff game. Bobby, get Bobby up from St. Pete. We'll get a playoff game in. Be more around town. Here we come.
I got news for you, though. If there's a playoff game in the form of a wild card one, as you're alluding to here, I think Brian Snyder's going to dial something up from Be More Around Town. We might be there.
I'll be there with you then. Tell Brian, here I come. We were in Baltimore. We were in Buffalo last year in December, and that ice box. And unfortunately, sat right in front of Kyle Andrews when he dropped that pass. So unfortunately,
Mark Andrews.
We travel well, Brian and Flock. We'll be traveling too.
The guest line's cooking. They're all going to kill me if I don't move on, Boyle. But
all right, one more person wants to say hello. Your dear mother.
Hey,
Happy
Mom.
Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Who do you got tonight? It's the Ravens Bengals. It's not in Cincinnati, but your daughter's in Cincinnati right now.
Oh, yeah.
This game's in
Ravens all the
Baltimore.
way, baby.
There we go.
Ravens, go Flock.
You know it. Love you lots.
Love you.
And Leon wants to know on your way out, Mr. Trosset, what kind of beer do you drink?
Well, 2 choices: Sierra Nevada Pale Ale or La Black Blue Light.
There you go. And we're just recently, as you just mentioned, we recently got you into some old fashions. We love seeing you wince as you suck those down.
What do you like, Leon? What's Leon like?
Leon, let him know. Mike says port wine, might switch to cab. Oh, I could tell Mike Mike's already cooking through some wine. I no doubt about that. By the way, definitely want to shout out the civility that's going on in the back home right now. My parents have been separated for over a decade, and they're hanging out in the same house. We got to love that. Maybe a lot of you can appreciate that. Let's see what else is going on. Anybody else got something? A parting message for my father on his way out? Shelly says, I should say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, but Bobby had the nerve to insinuate I was old enough to have a child EB's age. That was from yesterday. Shelly's great. Let's see. Drunk Monk says Molson XXX. What's that? Molson Triple X and Jack Blackberry for me tonight. I have no idea what that is. Dap Sports says Mick Ultra. And comments are flying in. They're flying in, Francis.
All right. Hope I get you started off the right way. Have a good night and go Flock.
Happy Thanksgiving. Love you, Holmes.
I love you, buddy. See ya.
I'll catch you. Guest lines are open. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. The inactives are out, as you've probably already seen. Wes is a Yingling guy, and we're following, obviously, this Dallas-Kansas City game in the closing moments of the fourth quarter. I mean, there's still over 11 minutes left, but we're going to be watching that one. Let's continue cooking through here. Your instant reaction to the inactives. Carl Lawson set to make his Ravens debut. What else we got going on here? We'll do it in chronological order. Drew, happy Thanksgiving, brother. Thanks for the call.
My bad. I was all close to the camera. I was looking at the inactive list.
They're right there. What say you, my man? Happy Thanksgiving.
What's up? Happy Thanksgiving, man. Just got done eating, and I would like to say you got your little brothers are your twins, man.
Wait till you see my sister at some point. I mean, I'm telling you, we got the same facial features, same blue eyes. We all grew up freaking bleach blonde, and yeah, the genes run strong.
Every style that you didn't had, I see it in your brothers. The mustache.
Oh, that guy cracks me up. He's our New York era. We call him. He's in his era. He's living in New York City. You know, he's kind of living that affluent lifestyle. We get on his ass about it.
I was just calling in to say happy Thanksgiving, Bobby. That's it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Enjoy the game tonight.
All you know, we going window W's, baby.
All right, you know it. Twice in 3 weeks, right? Twice in 3 weeks they'll be playing the Cincinnati team. And when you throw the Steelers in the middle of those two matchups, you know that it's going to be a pretty difficult stretch in terms of just divisional implications. Sometimes you can flip a coin when it comes to Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Daps wants to know, how do you feel, Carl Lawson will be used? I don't think there's going to be a ton of usage tonight. The guy hasn't played regular season football since January for Dallas, so I think that should be kept in mind, but he's up for David Ojabo. David's been playing 10, 15 snaps a game. Don't quote me on that. I got to go back and actually look what he's been averaging on a weekly basis, but that's the corresponding move. Ojabo's down. Carl is up. Aeneas Peebles is up. Good for him. We'll see if they trust him against the run tonight. You got to stop the run. Chase Brown is sort of a multi-threat back for them. He's a pass catcher. He's got 5 straight games of 100 yards or more from scrimmage, so he can do it both. And it really starts there while also bringing pressure against a quarterback that has not played since week 2 and obviously is recovering from that grade 3 turf toe procedure. I actually read something on what he's going to be dealing with tonight, likely wearing a carbon fiber turf toe plate with his toe secure in his cleat. So man, I mean, you talk about managing pain or managing discomfort the way that Marlon Humphrey has with a pin that was placed in his finger within the last couple of weeks. I think Joe Burrow is going to be doing the exact same. Let's go back to the guest lines. DeBruz is here. Happy Thanksgiving, brother. Are you at the bank right now? Where are you at?
You already know, man. I'm about to walk up. I'm leaving out of the Hyatt. On my way to the bank. Catch this dub real quick. I'm gonna say this. Sitting a Jabo is a great thing, man. Like I don't know what he does. What does a Jabo do well? If you could tell me one thing he does well besides he's the reason why we don't have Carl Pickens. Just tell me one thing he does well, man. I'm good. I'm anxious to see this rotation. Hopefully that get going. Again, I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about this offense, man. Being able to run the ball. Cincinnati can't stop the run. If we can't run the ball on them, It's gonna say a lot about us, brother. A whole bunch.
No doubt. I will tell you, just in all fairness, I thought Ajabo's been decent against the run of late. PFF did have him recorded for one pressure last week. I don't know how that. I don't remember seeing that from number 90.
PFF had me recorded as one pressure, Bobby. PFF had me down as one pressure last week, brother.
Look, it's obvious, right? It's obvious. Let's see what Carl's got in the tank. He had 5 sacks last year with Dallas. Sure, that was with Micah Parsons being one of his running mates there. And did anybody watch what Micah did today? Yeah, 10 pressures, couple sacks. The guy's an absolute menace, and the Ravens are going to have their hands tied coming up 2 days after Christmas in Green Bay. DeBruz,
look, bro, I got my little sister out here, too.
Look at the crew. You guys are heading into the tundra, baby. Let's go.
I got my little sister out in the cold. You know, if you get a woman out in the cold, she bundled up.
Oh, yeah, she is. You guys are ready to roll. And I got the forecast right now on the screen for you. Looks like by the start of the fourth quarter, you're going to be dealing with what feels like 25 degrees, some light gusts up to 23, but 10 to 15 miles an hour is where it's going to average out tonight. So weather shouldn't be too much of a factor. But as you know, and it's a perfect segue into talking about the elephant in the room, this is an offense that has really struggled to get going. They have not scored in opening drive scripted format since September 28th against the Chiefs. They are not consistently converting or moving the chains on third down. They struggle in the red zone, and it all has to do with not only a subpar offensive line, but a quarterback that is clearly not right physically and looks unrecognizable. I'll be curious to get your thoughts from your bird's eye view, my man, tonight.
Hey, listen, I'm going to email you from the game, man. First of all, I got something coming to you next week. FYI, a little token of my appreciation. But I'm going to email you from the game, man. Give you some correspondence from the game. My sister, I think she knows what she's talking about. But yeah, I'm not really worried about the run. I got Chase Brown in fantasy. He don't scare me. He don't score a lot. My concern is, are we able to pressure Barrow? And if we don't double chase, or should we walk out the stadium? Remember, the last time they played him and Higgins didn't play, he killed us. He had over 200 yards. Look it up. Over 200 yards.
Yep.
Why are we letting one person kill us? He would not see man to man. And I like Nate. He wouldn't see man to man all night. At all.
They're going to need to give Jamar a bunch of different looks tonight. As much as I love Nate and I love me some Nate Wiggins, they got to give Jamar all he can handle with a bunch of different looks with Marlon, with Nate, with Kyle's going to be involved because he's all over the field. He's got to protect the middle, of course, and get obviously disrupt different levels of Joe Burrow's sight lines. And look, Jamar, we know what Jamar is about. He's coming off his 1-game suspension. Easily, far and away, the most targeted pass catcher for Joe Burrow, even though he hasn't played since week 2. And we know that he's been a Ravens killer in the past, my man. I hope you enjoy yourself tonight, DeBruz. Be safe out there. You and the sis have a little bit of fun at the bank, baby. There's nothing better than the prime time at the bank.
You already know, bro. I'll check in with you later.
Look at that crew out there. My man's out in the wild tonight. He's stepping out.
You already. I get with you.
All right, brother. Talk to you. Enjoy it. I love that. A little bit of brotherly sister bonding going into tonight. No T. Higgins. No Trey Hendrickson. 2 losses. 2 big losses, of course, for Cincinnati, who really, from an overall AFC playoff picture standpoint, has to win tonight. You go to 3-9. 9-8 gives you a darn good chance to potentially sneak your way in as a wild card team. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the continued support. If you don't already, I would love for you to go check them out and follow them at Preston Automotive Group on Instagram. And you can scan the QR code that you see in the upper right-hand corner if you want to go check out PrestonMotor.com and my specific landing page that you're seeing up on the screen right now, where you'll be reminded of a couple different offers that are available to you this holiday season. You can cash in $500 towards a newer pre-owned vehicle at Preston if you let them know that I sent you, or you can buy 4 tires and receive 50% off your alignment. Contact them by filling out this form right here. You can pick your dealership location. There's a bunch all throughout the DMV, including my home dealership when I'm in the area. Dallas is on the move yet again. A 7-point lead right now with under 9 to go in the fourth quarter in Dallas. My home dealership is Preston Ford West. A special thanks to Preston. Right now, 3,804 vehicles available right now in terms of their inventory. And I want to say continued thanks to them and a happy Thanksgiving to all of my Preston Automotive Group family and to all of you out there spending some time with me as we get ready for kickoff under an hour out right now as we speak. Guys, as much as I hate to continue covering this because I know it pisses off some of you, Lamar Jackson is not right physically. And I suspect that will continue to be seen tonight. It's a 5-day turnaround since the last time that he played. And quite frankly, there have been a handful of plays since he returned for the Miami game after that hamstring that have led you to believe this is a player that is nowhere close to 100%. And while that's the case for most everyday players or every week, every Sunday players, if you will, this time of year entering week 13, for Lamar, it doesn't even feel like he's close to 70, 80% from a physical standpoint. Dan Orlovsky spoke about that on ESPN this week.
The overwhelming thing is I have never seen Lamar Jackson get tackled more in one-on-one situations than I have since he's come back. This is 2 weeks ago. I think it's the first snap of the game for Baltimore. This is one-on-one with the rookie linebacker. It's a 1-yard loss. You cannot find clips like that in Lamar's past. This is this past Sunday. 3rd and 5 in the red zone. He breaks. Right now you think, here he's gone. This is going to be a touchdown. 3rd and 5. There's certainly a first down. No yard gain. One-on-one out in space. 2nd and 10. Down in the red zone. Once again, climb the pocket. We've seen Lamar turn this into touchdowns. He's going to turn this into a 2-yard gain against a linebacker. I just have very rarely seen Lamar Jackson. I have watched Lamar get tackled more one-on-one this year than I have in his whole career. I think he's got 2 runs this year that have gone for longer than 10 yards. Lamar Jackson. So you're just not seeing him make people miss in space as a runner. Designed runner scrambles, nearly what we have in the past.
And I think that's what it is for me. It's less about the speed for Lamar. It's more about the elusiveness or lack thereof as the Cowboys get ready to potentially punch in another one over 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They are in the red zone on Kansas City. It's 2nd and 8. Dallas trying to put the Chiefs away and make it more and more difficult for them mathematically to continue to stay in the postseason hunt. That was a dangerous pass and a deflection with a 50-50 ball that ends up hitting the turf before a Chiefs defender's hands. Anyway, the numbers have been staggering. The first 5 games, Lamar was cooking. The last 3 games, there's been a lot to be desired when it comes to Lamar. And that's not just from a mobility or lack thereof standpoint. That's across the board. Some of this has to do with the lack of pass protection. Some of this has to do with uncharacteristic drops from his pass catchers. Some of this has to do with a lack of creativity at times from Todd Monken. It's a perfect storm. And as a result, this is an offense that's been scuffling for weeks. And yet they're winning games. Dallas they almost coughed up that football to a Chiefs defender, but it looks like it was recovered successfully by the Cowboys. They'll have to settle for a field goal. That's a scary play if you're Dallas right now, trying to put away a very dangerous, even though at times they've been very vulnerable this year. As always, this time of year, McDuffie with a hell of a punch there on Dallas. It's recovered by the Cowboys. So looks like they're going to settle for a field goal in the red zone to try and go up by 10 with over 5 minutes left to go. Was that George Pickens who fumbled that? Sure looks like it was. So Brandon Aubrey will attempt a field goal for Dallas. He's 2 for 2 so far today. This one's from, 24? I can't see my screen from across the way. He converts, and with 5:16 to go in the fourth quarter, Dallas has a 10-point lead over Kansas City. Back to the guest lines we go. Appreciate you for being with me. A happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Let's go to Maurice and then I'm thinking about Justice Hill. Justin Holt, what's going on, brother? Maurice, good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Same to you, man. How was everything today?
Everything's going good. I got my cold brew. I got a Blue Moon on standby. I got a big turducken downstairs waiting for me. So I'm probably gonna head down there after my time on the guest line is up.
Awesome.
But yeah, just enjoying my Thanksgiving.
For me.
But yeah, this is clearly a winnable game. So like we do own the tiebreaker over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now it is up to this offensive line to hold their own, carry their own weight, and do everything they have to protect Lamar in the pocket. And not only that, it's also up to the offense collectively to attack the weaknesses of the Bengals defense, whether it's through the ground or through the air. Like, this Bengals defense isn't really that good when it comes to covering tight ends. So which means they have to focus on exposing their imperfections, got to give the ball to your most reliable players, whether it's through Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely or the fat white guy running down the seams, Charlie Kohler. So, like, we all know this Bengals defense, it's like they've been struggling. It's like they're dead last in points allowed, I believe, with 362. So, I mean, the stats don't lie. It's right there. So we know what we got to do to win this ball game.
Dude, have a great Thanksgiving with you and your family the rest of the way. And I'm sure we will catch up in the next 24 hours. Thanks, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Guest lines are open. Justin, we'll come to you in just a second here. Here's where Cincinnati ranks league-wide as a defense through 11 games, 12 weeks, entering week 13 as Kansas City tries to erase this 10-point deficit. I believe Mahomes was just sacked by Dallas. So the Cowboys, was that Jadeveon Clowney? Tell me that was Jadeveon Clowney who sacked Mahomes. If it was, it's going to continue to make me think what I've thought for weeks now, and that is they should have brought him in. Why not? Imagine Jadeveon, Mike, Draymond as a trio. That's not including KVN, too. Anyway, Cincinnati's defense, I'm doing some multitasking right now because the Chiefs are in trouble, and they got to get a little bit of Kansas City magic if they want to come up with a miraculous comeback right now. But Cincinnati's the dead last overall, 31st against the run, 32nd against the pass, 32nd in scoring, 31st on third down, 22nd on fourth down, and 28th in the red zone. 65.3% of the time as a defense, they are allowing the opposing offense to score touchdowns. Perhaps that bodes well for a Ravens offense that's only getting in less than 50% of the time when they're in the red zone, only scoring touchdowns less than 50% of the time as Mahomes scrambles, throws up a prayer, and it's caught. Who the hell? Who was that? Was that Xavier Worthy? He was so wide open, he didn't even know what to do. Chiefs are still alive. Mahomes is hobbling, and here comes Kansas City. That was an insane busted coverage there as Mahomes just makes something happen. Wow. That was incredible. Evading defenders, throwing as he falls. That's just Mahomes magic right there. Bottom line is, on paper, we can't get fooled. On paper, the Ravens should put up a 50 spot tonight. This is not an offense that's capable right now in recent weeks, and I think even tonight, of putting up a 50 burger. I don't think they're going to put up a 50. I don't think they're going to put up a 40 burger. I get it. Last year they hung, what was it last year? 35 and 40 plus and swept Cincinnati. I get it. But I have no confidence right now with the state of this offense, with Lamar Jackson's physical limitations, with this offensive line's deficiencies in pass protection, with their inability to consistently run the football effectively on first down, the way they stall out in the red zone. I have my concerns about them getting into a shootout with a high-powered offense. And I don't care if there's going to be some rust involved for Joe Burrow, which I do expect. They're going to be able to effectively move the football. And the Ravens right now, I'm telling you, watch the interior part of this defense. When you think about the trenches game, know that Taven Bryan is down. Nnamdi Madubuike is done for the year. That means you're going to see probably some Aeneas Peebles. You're going to see, of course, Travis Jones, who's been logging over 70% of the defensive snaps, and he was hobbling around with an ankle injury. That's a lot to ask for big number 98. It starts in the trenches tonight. You have got to stop the run and force Joe Burrow to show you that he can dust off that rust effectively. Guys, that hasn't played since week 2. Justin, happy Thanksgiving, brother. Good to see you, man. Welcome back to the program.
What's up, Bobby? How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, man. It was nice to see them all in there.
Yeah, I've got FOMO, but I'm looking forward to getting back there in a few weeks for Christmas.
Yeah, man. I was they got me as drunk monk in the chat, but yeah, I got Cole Jackson knows about that Molson Triple X.
Oh, that's you. Okay. And you know what? I brain farted there. Of course I know Molson. I just got back from Canada. I spent the bye week in Banff, so I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, I got that, and I got the Jack Daniels Blackberry, man. So it's gonna be a good night. It's
That a boy. Where are the boys at? Where are your boys?
They're right here is Dill.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Yeah, my son, he just went home. My grandkids, he took the grandkids home and his wife, and because he just had a new baby. My granddaughter's a couple months old.
Oh, so, congratulations.
Yeah, he dropped them off. He's coming back over for the game. And my other son's upstairs with his girlfriend, so we're not going to go up there and interrupt them.
Congrats, man. How you feeling about tonight?
I'm all right. I'm with DeBruz, though. Like he said, I'm not really super worried about the defense. I mean, even if Kyle's a little banged up, I still think we can handle it. But the offense is definitely, I mean, like you said, with Lamar not being 100%. And last time I called in, I was driving back from New Jersey. And I said, hey, I think we could rest Lamar and let Snoop just beat the Jets. And people were like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But in hindsight, I think I might have been on to something. I think Lamar could have used that week. And I think Tyler could have handled it for us.
You know what's crazy about those comments as Kansas City punches it in? Looks like, was that Hollywood Brown? Oh, how ironic is it that when Justin calls in, Hollywood Brown finds the end zone. So Kansas City's still alive. Stop me if you've heard that before. Unbelievable grab and concentration with both feet in for Marquise Hollywood Brown. I got to salute him. We did not see a ton of that in Baltimore. He was more like the vertical passing attack and quick little slants and running out of bounds, right? I think what we all appreciate about Zay is that, yes, while he doesn't go north and south enough for most people's liking, he's willing to run through you. And I think he's a little bit more versatile than Marquise is. He's got a different frame too. They might have similar measurables, but I think there's more girth, if you will. Don't quote me on that for Zay, but I'm not trying to take anything away from Marquise. That was a hell of a catch. Very technical catch there in the back of the end zone. So Kansas City and Harrison Butker makes the PAT. So it's a 3-point game in Dallas. Oh, boy. Just when you thought they were done, we got ourselves a game in Dallas. But I don't even know where the hell I was going with that. Snoop. Yes, I think that, look, there's no point in looking back now, obviously. But if Lamar's nowhere close to 100%, like it appears that's the case, and he could have used that, I would have been maybe receptive to that. But here's the thing, Justin. I don't even think a mini bye, given the wear and tear right now and given how unwilling or unable or both he is to run, as we've seen in those plays that Orlovsky broke down and a number of other handful of them. I just don't know what an in-season rest, even if it is a mini bye, will do for this guy. That's what's so concerning. It's not like it's something that you just get in a cold tub and get yourself right over a 10-day period. Like this is a cumulative effect that goes all the way back to week 1. 24 sacks in 7.5, 8.5 games. That's concerning. And while no Trey Hendrickson tonight, Cincinnati's still capable of rushing the passer, especially when you consider the fact that the Ravens guard play has not been reliable.
Yeah, and it's cold. It's starting to get cold, and, Lamar isn't super great when it starts getting really cold out there. And the slow starts, they've been killing us the last couple of games. So, I mean, I think if it's going to be a shootout, which I hope it isn't, we got to start fast. We can't start like the last 2 games. We got to come right out of the gate gunning.
Brother, happy Thanksgiving to you and your boys, and I hope you have an awesome time tonight watching the game. We'll catch up soon.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving, Bobby.
Later, brother. Justin Holt, guest lines are open. We're coming up on that 30-minute countdown. What a catch that was. What a throw. What a catch by Mahomes and Hollywood. It's a 3-point game. This obviously has implications on the AFC playoff picture from a Kansas City perspective. We've been talking a lot about Lamar. Let's just hear from the man himself, how he handled some questions related to the most recent ailment, which is that toe.
Toe started bothering you, or is this just one? It's just been this compilation of things over time.
No, it actually happened in the game. I just got fell on, but I'm good though. Toe's good. Yeah.
Is it getting annoying though? It's something different every week that you have to deal with.
Talking about it is. Well, I don't like talking about something that happened, but it is what it is. It's part of the job, part of the game. But hopefully, nothing is Thursday. Yeah.
Lamar, do you remember when that toe injury happened?
First quarter, I got tackled one play. I wouldn't say it's intentional. We were just playing football, regular tackle. He just dropped all his weight on me though. So, yeah.
Tough not to allow frustration coming to set in with you when the physical issues have sort of mounted, when it's seemingly a new thing every week. Is it tough not to kind of feel like, woe is me, when am I going to ever feel 100%?
I don't think about that. We win, so that's what it's all about. I can't control the injury, Things like that happen. Unfortunately, it's just happening for the wrong time, I believe, but we winning, so that's all my focus on.
Do the other things feel better at this point, or is it just kind of a compilation of things?
I'm feeling better in some areas.
You said on Sunday, your view is like, look, if I'm out there, I should be able to play and do all the things I normally do. Has it been difficult to try to manage through each of those things over the course of weeks and sort of play through that or figure out how to play through it?
No, I just get treatment, and when Sunday comes, Thursday, what's about to happen this week, I don't think about it. I just go out there and play.
That's what he's going to try and do tonight. We're coming up on kickoff. Thanks for being here. Oh, man, you guys in the live chat are spot on when it comes to the Chiefs. You cannot, if you're Dallas, give them the football back. Pre-game warm-ups observations are hitting the Twitter timeline right now from beat reporters on the seat in Baltimore. Maybe some of you are out there at the bank right now observing the same thing, which is the fact that it's the same starting offensive line combination up front right now in pre-game warm-ups. That means Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, Andrew Voorhees at left guard, Tyler Linderbaum at center, Daniel Fa'alele at right guard, and, of course, Roger Rosengarten at right tackle. I know you're probably yawning and scoffing and side-eyeing me right now as you watch from wherever you are, but that is the case right now. Chris Long, I thought, had some really great commentary this week from his vantage point. He's a former NFL defensive end. I use his work often to get his perspective. And in this case, he talks about the state of this Ravens offense, Lamar's health, this offensive line, and where they have to go from here going into tonight.
Look like they're stuck in the mud. They look slow. The offense looks slow. And the most dynamic part of their offense is that quarterback. Okay, Lamar's fantastic. We know it.
Derrick Henry's pretty dynamic too.
No, but not.
It's like kinetic energy versus potential energy kind of thing,
I understand. But Lamar Jackson, I can kind of explain away Derrick Henry not having the kind of year that he's accustomed to having because the offensive line's been pretty poor. It's not a great group up front. He's also, Derrick Henry is 30 years old, right? At some point, he's not going to run for 2K every year, basically, is what I'm saying. Lamar Jackson should still look like Lamar Jackson. Physically, he hasn't this year. And we know it's because of injuries, at least in part. But you watch that game, do the same freeze frame thing I was doing with Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah. I was freezing the film in certain spots, and I wish I had just screenshot it because I can show you frozen film. But, guess the outcome of the play. You've got Lamar Jackson. You got a post safety who's coming down to support a scramble. You've got a half field concept over here, and there's the pylon in the post field safety or a linebacker. In the past, you freeze that and you guess touchdown or you guess 20-yard run. It's not happening right now. And it's obviously injuries have a lot to do with that. But I think, teams aren't afraid to man up Baltimore.
Yeah.
You might be afraid in certain situations to man them up in the past because of the quarterback's legs. I think you can take that off the list right now. And 23, I think he had 72 scrambles. 2024, 42 scrambles. 2025, I think he's only got 24.
Yeah.
So that's been a big part of what they do. Obviously, he's a pocket passer, but he's not hurting people the same way when he tucks and runs it, and he's taking more big hits. He's taking
more hits than any other QB.
Yes, but also like when he tucks it and runs it, like in the past, because of his mobility, because of how he's seeing the field, like he can get out of bounds, he can avoid the hit. Now he's taking tackles, dude.
Yeah.
And the red zone rate has been cut in half.
Massive. Shelly, I'm with you. Massive conversion on third down between Dak and Pickens. He has clearly become a game-changing player for them since they traded for him. Just over 2 minutes to go, or it's the 2-minute warning, and Dallas trying to close out Kansas City in a massive game that would put the Chiefs in a major hole in the AFC playoff picture. More from Chris, and we'll follow that leading up to kickoff. It's coming down to the wire in Dallas.
I think also another thing that hasn't been good, it jumps off the screen when you watch them on film is, their RPO game's not great, but the screen game is much worse than last year. They went from like a middle of the pack screen team to a bottom 3, bottom 4 screen team. So you watch that on film and like the answers are they're disjointed for them. They're not in a flow. And so I worry about this offense. I do.
Well, I'd be very worried if they can't score on the Bengals. I would be highly, highly alarmed.
That's a concern.
Yeah.
It makes them human in every game they play. Which to me it's tough because the other teams that are spotty offensively, they have really elite defenses. And while Baltimore's been better on defense, like since they made those moves, like I don't put them in the class of Denver, I don't put them in the class of Philly, I don't put them in the class of, I don't know, go around the league. I don't put them in the class of Green Bay. So when your offense takes a half off, and we've seen it the last 2 weeks against the likes of the Browns and the Jets, it's a bad deal. So I think for Baltimore, you want to see the offense look a lot better this Thursday. And you got to keep the points down because this could end up being a tight football game if you can't score.
Yeah.
And just to follow up to your point about man coverage, Chris, that the Ravens have faced the third most man coverage this season. That's really interesting.
It is interesting. And I saw that and look back at the last couple years, teams play more man against them than you'd think. But this year, it's just when you watch, you're like, no wonder.
Is that because of Lamar, though? Because that's immediately
I think it's the receivers. I think it's the personnel groupings they use in the receivers.
I just feel like you don't want to play with zone eyes, against Lamar, and you want to have a little bit more people in the box and then even a spy on him, which means man to me.
I think it'd be interesting, and maybe, Nolan, you can do this while we're finishing, but to sort for third downs. Because when you see them in the field and they're in 22 personnel or 12 personnel in these condensed formations or what have you, and you're in man for whatever reason, but in those must pass situations, I kind of wonder if there has been an uptick because of what we're all seeing on film.
On third downs this season, they're seeing 42% man coverage, which is a top 10. Great. Yeah, that's really high. Yep.
So that to me is the true tell, and it does tell a story.
Who's going to be the man beater tonight for Lamar's offense outside of Zay Flowers? Rashad Bateman will be back in the lineup for the first time in 2 weeks, having dealt with that high ankle sprain. We'll have to see if he has a snap count placed on him tonight and what his mobility is. Meanwhile, Dallas is in victory formation. 31-28 will be the final over the Chiefs. Kansas City drops to 6-6. They had every chance. Patrick Mahomes carried them as much as he possibly could, but they fall short in Dallas. So 6-6 has them in the hunt outside of the playoff picture through 13 weeks of football. Houston 6-5. Pittsburgh is 6-5. Kansas City 6-6. The Chargers and the Bills and one other team, but it just went off the screen, would be your wild card teams right now. And the Ravens would be a divisional winner because of the tiebreaker that they have over Pittsburgh as of right now. And that is all based on divisional record, of which the Ravens are unbeaten at the moment, having swept the Cleveland Browns. So that's what's going on in Dallas. Big deal for Kansas City. Big deal in terms of what's taking place in the AFC playoff picture, and that means we are 20 minutes out from kickoff. Drop your predictions into the live chat if you haven't already. Call in and share a thought with me before I close things down. You can click on the link that I have pinned in my live chat right now. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Let's reset the table, pun intended, once and for all, leading into kickoff tonight. Rashad Bateman will be back for the first time in a couple weeks. Cooper Rush, of course, is your emergency third quarterback. Tylan Wallace is the healthy scratch, and certainly a surprise. Devontae Walker is up, of course. Ben Cleveland and Carson Vincent, both healthy scratches as reserve offensive linemen. David Ajabo is down. That means Carl Lawson is up. And yes, it is the long-awaited activation that I think a lot of you have been hoping for. The veteran outside linebacker who began his career in Cincinnati and had 5 sacks last year as a member of the Cowboys is set to make his Ravens debut tonight in Baltimore. That is Carl Lawson. I guess technically he's a defensive end, but that's what's happening there. And there's also, from a special teams perspective as well, Chandler Martin, a linebacker, is also a standard practice squad elevation for tonight's game, as the Ravens themselves tweeted out earlier. Abdi says 35-21 Ravens. Hit me with your predictions. Runzel says Ravens 34-27. Wes says 27-31. Wes, you going with the Ravens tonight? Sweet Potato says 34-24. Dre Dog, what's up, brother? It's 28-20. Drunk Monk Justin says Keaton Mitchell goes for over 100 tonight. And remember, with no Justice Hill, who's been placed on injured reserve with a neck, that does mean you would think they're going to get a hefty dose of Keaton Mitchell. Rasheen Ali, of course, from a special teams perspective, is active tonight. And we know that Derrick Henry leads the way in that room. Let's see. Miss Fancy Pants. Is that you, Tisha? I think it is. But again, the handles are all confusing me. I don't see your normal usernames. Jason has 28-23. Shante. Is it Shante? He got 27-24. And Wes isn't sure. He's 50-50 right now on what his 31-27 prediction ends up becoming. Troy has a happy Thanksgiving. Tisha says 31-17. Buff and Puff 28-27. David Petrosky says 35-20 Ravens. Julian, what's up, brother? 20-17. Love you forever says 37-17. And Captain Hard says must win with the Chiefs. Loss. AFC is wide open. And yes, it is indeed. The Chiefs embarrassed the Ravens at their place back in September. That's the last time. That's the last time that the Ravens scored in opening drive scripted format as an offense. That's not good enough. It's not good enough, and it's not going to be good enough if Joe Burrow and company are moving the ball at ease on this Ravens defense, which I suspect they will do tonight. John Harbaugh talked about the strategy going up against one of the game's top dynamic wide receivers and a guy that's coming off, of course, a one-game suspension in Jamar Chase.
Certainly does merit double coverage. I mean, he's one of the premier receivers in the league for sure. It's hard to get to that because you've got some other weapons out there, and as soon as you start pulling the coverage too far away from other guys, and other guys start making plays on you. So we'll have to balance all that out with what we do. But yeah, he's one of the top guys in the league for sure.
Will Jamar struggle tonight with no Robin? The Robin to his Batman, T. Higgins, is down. Trey Hendrickson is down. Jermaine Burton, talented young wide receiver who has not probably realized his potential based on what they wanted him to be so far in his young career, is also down. So it's going to be a heavy dose of Jamar Chase. It's going to be a heavy dose of their tight ends, and the Ravens defense going to have to be ready to go. John Harbaugh talked about Lamar.
What have you seen from Lamar in the past few weeks when maybe he's not as healthy as you guys still win the games? Obviously, he probably wasn't playing his best in those games. But what have you seen him kind of getting through those last few weeks?
Right. Well, I feel like Lamar's playing winning football in games that you have to find a way to do what's required to win the game. And that's different in every game. And he's been doing that. Whether sometimes you take some things for granted. You protect the football or you operate the right way. Or you get us down the field. I mean, we've had some key drives at the end of the game, second half and fourth quarter, that have been game winners for us in offense. So it's like, well, you may be referring to quote unquote gaudy stats and things like that, but how about the fourth quarter stats? I think Lamar's got a 144 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter when the game needs to be won, and that's when these games have needed to be won in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. So that's probably the most important stat. And so that's what I see.
And it'll continue to be the most important stat, and I get that. And here is the man who's going to try and continue the winning streak that the Ravens have been on, which dates all the way back to 5 weeks ago, and really maybe even longer than that because of a mini bye that was sprinkled in there as well. The Ravens began with, of course, a win over the Chicago Bears October 26th. So about 4 weeks ago and a day or so. Tyler Huntley started that game. They then went to Miami on a short week and dominated them in the second half after a really underwhelming first half. 28-6, pound the Dolphins. They fire their general manager a day later. Things obviously have not worked out well at Hard Rock and in Miami for Tua and the Dolphins. They then went to Minnesota and beat a Vikings team that I thought from a defensive perspective had an amazing game plan. And Brian Flores probably will get some head coaching looks this upcoming hiring cycle. They then beat Cleveland. Lamar was sacked 5 times, 4 of which came from Myles Garrett. They struggled offensively from an operational standpoint. And then, of course, after just a horrific first half, really an ugly first half against the Jets at home just 5 days ago, they find a way to beat them in the second half with stellar defense, stellar special team standouts, and maybe, just maybe, they'll need all that and more coming up tonight. It's the purple rising alternate helmet, just a filthy look. It's slick, it's clean, and there is Lamar, courtesy of the Ravens Twitter account that just dropped a couple of those gems within the last couple minutes. Guys, I appreciate you as always. Justin says a happy Thanksgiving, Flock, and thanks for the super chat, my man, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Sarah and I will have your post-game coverage as soon as the post-game press conferences wrap up. It's typically around midnight, and yeah, we're in for a long night, but we hope that you'll enjoy it and come join us. If you could on the way out, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. I hear from so many of you, like DeBruz, who was so kind to cash at me some love and thanks earlier this week. If you want to donate to the program outside of the YouTube space, you can always do so at Venmo and Cash App. You see the handles up on the screen. Nothing is ever expected. Everything and anything is always appreciated. Guys, enjoy the game. Sarah and I will catch up with you in a few hours. Stay safe, stay well fed, and we'll see you tonight inside the vault as always.